I'm State Representative Seth Grove, and welcome to another edition of Legislative Report. Today, it's very exciting. We're here at the Bob Hoffman YMCA in Dover, PA. I think most locals call it the Dover Y for a short name. Joined with Larry Richardson, the President CEO of the York Y, Greater York Y for the entire county of York. Great to have you here. Very excited to be here, and very excited to hear about all the great things the Y is doing, not only here in Dover, but across York County.
Yeah, thanks for having us. Welcome to Dover YMCA.
Yeah. First, let's start off. You're celebrating some exciting times. 160th anniversary of the York YMCA here in York County. 160 years. Take us back to the start of the Y, what it was like, how it was founded, and kind of how it started here.
Well, contrary to what you may know or understand, I wasn't here 160 years ago, but I have been here for 20 years. But the YMCA started here in York downtown in 1855. It actually began in London, England in 1844 when men were leaving the rural areas during the Industrial Revolution in Europe, mainly in England, coming into the city, and they found themselves in compromising moral conditions, having to make better decisions. So a young man by the name of George Williams brought a young Christian men together, and that movement really started the YMCA. You had to be 25 years old or younger, had to be male, had to be a professed born-again Christian at the time, and they really met for prayer, Bible study, and fellowship, and mutual support and accountability. That idea came to the United States in 1851 in Boston, and then by 1855 to York, 1854 in Harrisburg, and 1855 then here in York. So the York Association is one of the oldest 25 YMCAs in the country. We're on the first YMCA of the USA Charter. And then from 1855, of course, during the Civil War, the YMCA here in York and everywhere really kind of went away. All the men went either off to war. Many YMCA volunteers actually worked in POW camps or worked in hospitals. And then after the war was over, the YMCA was resurged in all communities. And in York this time it started with an Episcopalian Y and a Presbyterian Y. So it wasn't until 1868 that the YMCA's Episcopalians and Presbyterians got together and had one association, and it grew from there. So in about the mid-1890s, they had their first full facility. Prior to that, there was nothing such as pools or gymnasiums or anything like that. Everything was prayer, reading, Bible study, fellowship, Sunday schools, evangelism meetings, and things like that. So the first YMCA building was actually on West Market Street in the mid-1890s.
Wow, that's exciting history. And not a lot has changed since the original mission of the Y. Your current mission still matches that up with kind of the founding principles of the Y. Great community service, a great partner throughout York County with numerous events. So what's your formal mission statement?
Our formal mission statement is we still are a Christian-based organization, so we put Christian principles into practice through programs that build healthy spirit, mind, and body for all. And we exist to develop and practice really 6 core values: faith, hope, love, honesty, respect, and responsibility. That mission has been traditional, as you say, and it has changed in terms of how it's delivered, more in an ecumenical way versus an evangelical way, maybe in the past century or even in the late 19th century. But still, nonetheless, that's the foundation of the program and really what causes and moves us to try to have impact in the communities. It's really about life change, working through programs in each of the communities that we're working in.
It's exciting. Now you have the Dover Y, you have the main branch downtown York, you have the Graham Aquatic Center, which is a phenomenal new building, probably your most recent. You have Eastern York Y, you have Shrewsbury, then there's the Hanover Y, which is its own Y, correct? It's its own corporate entity?
Correct. The Hanover YMCA is an independent association, and we are in an agreement right now where we do share services, so we call them our partner YMCA. It's 2 distinct associations. They do a great job in the Hanover community, Littlestown and in South Hanover. We have 4 branches, and as you mentioned, a camp, and then a lot of the community development work that we do. And we share some of our key staff. We're trying to do a better job in leveraging resources to deliver the YMCA mission in the entire South Central Pennsylvania region. As 2 distinct YMCAs, but coming together where areas that we are common that we can leverage those resources. And it's worked out very well. We actually, my colleague at the Hanover YMCA, Liam Behrens, and I actually did a presentation at a national YMCA conference for other communities to kind of see how YMCAs can come together without considering merger at the present time, but how can we leverage our strengths and do a better job of serving our communities?
That's exciting. I think with the down economy we have had in recent years, a lot of nonprofits have seen kind of donations dry up and stuff. So I'm sure the Y at some point had a hit on that, but still provides services. And one of the core is I know it's providing daycare to some disadvantaged individuals. A lot of income breaks. Generally, if you want to go to school here, you're going to find a way to get kids educated within the Y system for the most part, correct?
Yeah, that is correct. We've been very fortunate, and as you well know, being a resident of this community is extremely charitable and benevolent. Particularly where there are needs that you can articulate and show impact. And because of that, we've been very fortunate in terms of our support of our association. One of the key mantras or models in the YMCA is that we will never deny anybody an opportunity to participate in any YMCA program solely for financial reasons. So even as we talked earlier about state budgets that maybe are helping to support some of our child care programs back a number of years ago in the Rendell administration, although the state funding was not coming forward in terms of to help support child care programs, we continue to provide those programs where in a lot of communities child care centers close down. And we just don't do that. We just don't do that. So it's maybe we're risk aversion to closing those types of things, but a lot of the charitable and benevolent community stepped in and helped us fill those gaps. But because of that, we normally are somewhere between $850,000 to $1.1 million per year in charitable assistance across just our association. So that's a significant amount of dollars. Our strategic goal is around 15% of our total operating revenue. We want to be extending in charitable work in the community.
Yeah, absolutely. Now, most people think the Y, they think, oh, it's just like a gym. I go in there, I work out, you got swimming pools. But the Y does a lot more. Between childcare, shelter for men to stay at, just here at the Bob Hoffman YMCA, you have guitar lessons, you have tons of programs happening. How diverse is the Y programming today?
It's extremely diverse and maybe somewhat even complex, but even as you mentioned before, the earlier question you asked about the history of the YMCA, YMCAs didn't do anything physically until 1891, when the invention of basketball. And basketball by Dr. James Naismith at the Springfield YMCA was all about doing youth and teen work for men living in Massachusetts to have something physically that they could do to kind of reduce their stress and anxiety and run off some energy. So from the time the YMCA started until 1891, it was all about these other components. And really in the 1890s, a gentleman by the name of Luther Gulick really adopted, I think this, I'm going to be wrong, I might have to edit this out, but the Luke 2:52 scripture passage where Jesus grew in spirit, mind, body, physically, emotionally, and socially, and mentally. And Luther Gulick said that's the total person. So the YMCA then started to address the physical pieces, and the first gymnasium started to happen, the first swimming pool started to occur. In fact, our YMCA in West Market Street in the mid-1890s had an indoor swimming pool. No filtration system, so I would not suggest and recommend that you go swim there at the time, but no one knew about those types of things. First swimming lessons started to come along, but as the YMCA grew, and then particularly in the 60s and 70s, people started to identify the YMCA as gym and swim. Part of that was our fault and how we kind of presented ourselves in the community, but we are much more complex. In fact, our #1 program, outside of being a member of our association, we are a membership-based organization, is childcare. Even today, in the middle of the summer, just in our camping programs and our youth outreach, our Achievement Gap program that we run downtown, we right now are caring for 500 children a day, just in the York and York County YMCA. So it is very diverse, it is very complex, and you've mentioned our homeless men's shelter. There's 120 men right now living 24/7 at the YMCA downtown. We have nearly 200 affordable housing units in the city that we use for affordable housing for families, quality affordable housing for families. Our youth development programs that we run, our Live Strong program for cancer survivors, we're very, very large. In the last 3 years, our fastest growing program has been chronic disease prevention, around working with cancer survivors, around diabetes prevention, and now we just started and partnered with the Million Hearts campaign, focusing on heart disease.
Yeah, it's so complex. You guys are doing a great job. Now, child care, what different age groups do you have? Obviously, you have, my kids are obviously enrolled here at Dover. Oldest one is heading off to kindergarten next year.
Congratulations.
Yeah, it's very exciting. And I must say, during his assessment going into public school, the two things that kind of our end of failure was home address and telephone numbers, which no one has a home telephone number anymore generally, so we have to train them on our cell phones and stuff like that. But very well prepared to go into public school from his time here. Great dedicated staff. We've definitely enjoyed the education. Our youngest one still goes here. Looking to, I guess he's probably looking to start up soon. Both of them, summer break, they were very sad to actually leave, which is, I guess, a very good thing for kids not to kind of miss going to school. But what age groups do you have? And to get signed up, what part of registration, when should they be looking at doing that?
We run them sometimes. A lot of our preschool programs run on the same, similar to a school calendar. We have 2 early learning centers that are licensed child care centers downtown in York, where we can care for 80 children, and out in East York, where we partner with the Children's Home of York out on Shoe House Road. Both of those are early learning centers, more of your traditional child care when parents are working, they need care during the day. They run 6 a.m. to 6 p.m. They can register for those programs at any time. Some of them have a waiting list, but we're always at least doing the interviews for children.
Yeah.
Here at Dover and in Shrewsbury, we have part-day preschool programs, for instance, that your children experience, where they're not necessarily the child care piece, but they're more the educational piece. But in both cases, the licensed child care and the part-day preschools, like your experience has been, we're trying to prepare them and working hand in hand in partnership with the local school district is what do the children need to know and understand when they move into those classrooms. They're taking registrations now for the part-day preschool programs, both here in Dover and at the Southern Branch in Shrewsbury. The other part is we have 21 different sites in school-age child care. We work in 7 different school districts.
Wow.
It's the formal name of people would probably most recognize it as Latchkey, but before and after school programming. So we run in partnerships with school districts in 7 different schools. Some of those, some of those programs are housed in our own facilities, but providing before and after school programs. So during the school year, the part-day preschool, the early learning, and the before and after school programs, we care for nearly 600 children a day throughout the county.
Yeah, and you're a heavy user of our education income tax credits, EITC program.
Thank you very much. We are, because a lot of the program, when I speak about how much our charitable assistance means to us, a lot of our the EITC, we're in a pre-K scholarship program. So those dollars, we use those dollars at all of our centers right now. We just expanded it from 2 to all 4 of those centers, and we're very grateful. And I think we would be strained if not for the education improvement tax credits and the pre-K scholarship program for sure.
And if you're a business out there and you want a tax write-off and you care about the future employees that you're going to hire, obviously a great way to do that is get them a great early education. So you can actually contact the Y and say, I want a tax write-off, and you can do the paperwork and help them get a tax credit that goes right back to early education, correct?
Absolutely, and we have plenty of capacity, and our programs are being approved right now for the re-up as of July 1st. And hopefully put companies and individuals or S-Corps have their information in. And we had to send out some of our partnership materials a few weeks ago, but they can find me. I'm usually pretty easy to find, or one of our staff in our corporate offices at the YMCA downtown.
Great. With that, we're going to take a quick commercial break, and we'll come back and we'll talk about Camp Spirit, which is, I think, a great opportunity for kids to continue learning throughout the summer. So we'll be right back.
Did you know that Act 16 of 1999 honors one of the greatest leaders in the Pennsylvania House of Representatives? The Matthew J. Ryan Legislative Office Building, once known as the Capitol Annex, is located next to the main Capitol building and honors the late Speaker of the House, Matthew J. Ryan. Those who visit this building will observe the magnificent architectural designs providing eloquence and grandeur to the building. Known as one of the greatest members in the history of the Pennsylvania State House, Matthew Ryan started his career in the legislature in 1963 and was elected Speaker in 1981. His charisma and knowledge will forever be reflected in the building now named after this great legislative leader. Now you know.
Welcome back to Legislative Report. Again, I'm State Representative Seth Grove, and we're here at the Bob Hoffman YMCA in Dover, and we're sitting down with their President CEO, Larry Richardson. Thanks again for taking the time out today and discussing all the great stuff you're doing with the Y. I want to come back and hit on Camp Spirit. Obviously, we're in the summer now, and it is up and running. So can you give us a description what it is, how many kids, and what you can expect in a day of Camp Spirit?
Yeah, Camp Spirit actually was, we were the grateful recipient of this property by Foster Stanbaugh. I'm going to say I wasn't here then either, back in the late 1950s, early 1960s. And the YMCA had a resident camp down along the Susquehanna River called Camp Minqua. And at the time, it was a great waterfront and so on, but the river started to be really non-programmable at the time because of pollutions and pollutants and so on. So the YMCA sold that camp and was the recipient of this camp out in East Manchester Township. So no, about 15 to 16 acres, day camp site, several different lodges, a lot of open space, some woods and some other things. And Camp Spirit is designed to be a full-service day camp program and has been for a number of decades now. This week, normal weeks were anywhere from 140 to 165 kids. They come from communities, from the Dover community, East York community, and the General York community. We bus those children out there every day. They're there all day long. It actually has a small swimming pool there also. There's a full curriculum that includes archery, includes an arts program, sometimes a music program. We have various learning components that come and visit. They may be coming from a reptile place to come and speak or environmental issues. And it's a place where the kids can have fun but also learn. And it's also an opportunity for us to at least stave off some of the summer learning loss that kids may experience. There's a full swimming and aquatic program. They not only have swim and swim lessons at the camp, but they also come to the Graham Aquatic Center also once a week. And then we also run a full-service camp in Red Lion and also at the Southern Branch. But the Camp Spirit specifically has children come from the General York area, Dover community, and Eastern York.
What age group is Camp Spirit?
We'll start them at we'll have some 5-year-olds, but mainly 6 to 13.
6 to 13. Okay, that's exciting. And obviously, swimming's a crucial aspect of what the Y does. I don't think it defines it, but builds great leadership skills. I started swimming at the Y when I was very young. Went to Spring Grove at the time. They didn't have a swim team. We had a club team. So again, the Y partnered with Spring Grove to get swimming acclimated in that school district. How important was having the Graham Aquatic Center? How important is it to teach kids to swim, both as safety and for leadership and other aspects?
I think we start with the YMCA. Our position strategically is that every child has the right to learn how to swim. It shouldn't be a privilege. So with that in mind, we try to make it as accessible as possible. We are the largest owner and provider of swimming programs in the county, in the state, in the country, in the world. And in this county, we have numerous aquatic sites, including in Shrewsbury, downtown New York, at the Graham Aquatic Center, and even at our camp. And so for instance, for this summer, we provide free swimming lessons for city youth at the Graham Aquatic Center, where we'll have probably anywhere from 80 to 120 kids come through that program this summer. Swim lessons all year long in the York and in the Southern Branch. And then the outdoor pool at the Graham Aquatic Center certainly meets family and youth and family recreational needs throughout the summer. The Graham Aquatic Center itself then really was a confluence of community needs, economic development, and neighborhood redevelopment, where we took an underused and undercapitalized city asset, worked in partnership with the city and Grace Brethren Church to be able to create a complex that created safe passageways between neighborhoods, but also provided an opportunity for us to put York really back on the map in terms of from a competitive swimming standpoint and have a significant economic driver. We'll have anywhere from 8 to 10 meets throughout the year that'll come from a Thursday, sometimes as early as a Thursday through a Sunday. 400 or 500 people coming to York County, staying in our hotels. That's why the hotel tax is so important to us. Eating in our restaurants, shopping in our shops, and they come to this fantastic facility that was a partnership between the YMCA, the city, the church, and many others. The state was actually an active partner in that, and then numerous charitable contributions. An unprecedented amount of dollars were raised in that project, $11.3 million in York County. I think maybe the hospital, maybe the college have raised more, but just an amazing project that has turned out to benefits not only teaching children to swim, providing access for economically challenged families for outdoor recreation and swimming, and then a huge economic boost to the community when we have these large meets. And then one of the top competitive swim programs in the country, if not the nation, where we have a number of swimmers who are currently on various national teams, really have opportunities to maybe make the Olympic team. And then we have a number of recreational. What's lost in that is children that are learning to be recreationally competitive. They maybe not want to, make the commitment at a higher level in terms of time and yardage swimming and so on. But yet are learning to swim as a lifelong sport, and they can continue that into their adulthood. So if you put all those things together, the opportunities that we have, and recently we've been hosting, most of the people in the state would be familiar with the Mid-Atlantic Conference and the Pennsylvania State Athletic Conference. Their conference championships are now housed here in York. And we're actually partnering with the Central York School District. Hopefully, I don't know if we have it finalized, but the Junior Olympics are coming to York County next year. So that is huge, very, very huge. And it's because of the other partnerships we're developing with the Graham Aquatic Center and the Central York School District.
Yeah, it's amazing. And it's amazing how swimming has become a national security issue. We have a lot of inner city minority kids who haven't learned to swim. Marines, part of their core requirement is a swimming option, so it limits your ability to become a Marine. Special operations, Navy SEALs, Marine Recon, Delta Force, Green Beret, all have some kind of swimming requirements in it, and they're disproportionately represented by minority individuals simply because of swimming.
Correct.
So I think the Y is providing a critical role in trying to educate kids and do a service. I mean, today the Pentagon's spending dollars on going in and trying to train these kids, and probably a great partnership opportunity with Wise to move that forward as well.
Well, it's huge, and I don't have the exact data, but you're exactly right. The amount of urban kids of color and their swimming ability is off the charts in terms of in comparison with maybe some of their white suburban colleagues and classmates. It's just not even close. And yet in our urban environments, we have waterways that are there all the time. And really, we became alerted to this, not that we weren't conscious of it, but a number of years ago, there were a couple drownings in the city during heavy rains. And we determined we have capacity to deliver on this. Let's figure out a way that we can do that. We were already providing our traditional swim lessons. We said, listen, let's just do free swim lessons in the summer. And then we run some achievement gap programs to prevent learning loss with urban students now in the summer. And as a part of that piece, as they're going through their math and their English tutorial, and their reading tutorials, they have a swimming component at the end of it. So we try to work that into everything because it's a significant strategic advantage that we have in the community. Not only do we have the facility, we have the capacity, we have the expertise, we have the background, and we're seeing impact working with these children.
Now, something you said probably 50 times during this interview is partner, 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 partner. Is that the strength of the Y, being able to go out there and partner with anyone, anywhere to serve a need within your community?
I think it is. So from a strategic standpoint, that is a core value of ours. It's actually written in our strategic plan. When we see a community need, do we have the capacity? Does it fit with our mission? And who can we seek out as partners in the process? I don't know that that's always been the case, but we really believe in the future. If we want to really leverage everyone's strengths in the community to really address needs and have impact, we need to be seeking out who are the partners, how can we work with them, and how can we have a significant impact. So just about everything that we do now, we seek those partners. We don't do it right all the time, but if there's anything that is out there and people believe that the YMCA can be a significant partner, we can be a lead partner. We are a number of partners in projects that people wouldn't even know we're involved in. We don't always have to be the lead. And sometimes you have to take a step back and let somebody else take the lead, and we can provide support services. And we do that with a number of services. Eat, Play, Breathe York is one of the key pieces, probably. We have always been a facilitator and a catalyst, and we provide staff support. But there are numerous partners involved, including York City Rec, including United Way, Healthy York County Coalition, and if you go into the city, you can see the results of some of those works, whether it's bike and pathways, safe pedestrian crossways, safety fencing, and the butcher, the butcher alleys. All those things are part of Eat, Play, Breathe. That we're part of a coalition and a partnership the Y, we're proud to be so, but we're not touting ourselves as a lead agency. We're in a group of partners, and that has impact. And that's really what we're about, is changing lives and having impact.
Yeah. So there's probably two things that the Y always desperately needs. One is volunteers, and two is board members. And each Y has their own board members. I know I was a board member over at Eastern Y here at Dover for a little while. If you're interested in being a volunteer, what's the process? What do you need to do? And then if you want to be a board member at one of your local Ys, what's the process for doing that?
Well, we have an ongoing 12-month. We do it a little bit different now. We're always talking about board governance. I probably spend about 15 to 20% of my time because it's that important to us. Contrary to popular belief, this YMCA is not run by Larry Richardson. It's run by volunteers in the community. And we have a corporate board that really is the legal entity, the boss, if you will, the legal authority of the YMCA. That's made up of 24 people from throughout the county. And each one of our branches has its own board of managers. And the process is you can go to your local branch and say, I would be interested in serving in that role. We're always looking for quality branch boards of managers. And or if they're interested in even coming onto the corporate board, there's a process that they go through with that. They can contact us at the corporate office. So all in all, and policy volunteers, we have 24 policy volunteers that are the legal entity of the corporate association, and each one of our branches have anywhere from 8 to 14 branch boards of managers. And then each of those, and including our corporate board, have standing committees, anywhere from 3 to 6 standing committees. So all in all, and if you throw in our program volunteers, we have over 1,500 volunteers that work on behalf of the YMCA in programming or in policy positions.
And those volunteers make it or break it. My kids have been in t-ball, basketball, you name it, and it's those volunteers that make those programs successful.
It's critical. It's part of our history. Is you go back to one of the first questions you asked about the YMCA and its history. There were no paid YMCA staff to the late 19th century. It was all volunteer run, and that's one of the I think one of the geniuses of our system and the YMCA from a national standpoint, as we are still volunteer-driven, volunteer-run. I am not the ultimate authority in the YMCA. I respond to a board of community leaders that do set both the policy and strategic direction of the YMCA and act on their behalf, and I serve on their behalf.
That's great. Unfortunately, we are out of time. Larry, thank you so much for spending some time discussing all the great stuff you're doing here at the YMCA, not only in the local Dover area, but throughout York County. We greatly appreciate it.
Well, we appreciate your interest, your support, and thank you for leading the YMCA caucus in the state of Pennsylvania.
No problem. Unfortunately, we are out of time. If you're interested in anything you've seen here today, you want more information on any of the YMCAs, whether it's the Bob Hoffman YMCA in Dover or any of the Ys in the greater area, what services they provide, contact information will be displayed at the end of the show. Thank you so much for turning into another edition of Legislative Report. Again, I'm State Representative Seth Grove. Have a great day.